Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg, and welcome once again to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Tonight, we celebrate the evolution of the world's greatest mixed martial arts event. November 12th, 1993, Denver, Colorado, the world met the UFC. That night, we also met Ken Shamrock and Royce Gracie. This will be a night for the ages because for you, the great fans of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, your voices tonight will be heard. We also will induct the first two entrants into the Ultimate Fighting Championship Hall of Fame. Our featured matchup tonight for the welterweight title, Matt Hughes, his fifth defense, newcomer Frank Trigg, a second-degree judo black belt. My partner is always Joe Rogan. We talk about the welterweights. Matt Hughes seems to be indestructible, unless, of course, you talk to Frank Trigg.
Frank Trigg's very confident, and there's some real animosity between these guys. Frank Trigg, without a doubt, is a legitimate contender. He's a WFA welterweight champion, an excellent international wrestler, a great striker from a great camp, the Raw team, supremely confident and truly believes he's the man to beat Matt Hughes. And Matt Hughes does not like it one bit. He's trained harder for this fight than any fight in recent memory, and it's going to be a war.
We begin with the lightweights. Yves Edwards was preparing for Dean Thomas, but more importantly, he's prepared to take the next step. It's an opportunity that neither want to waste. Here's newcomer Nick Aguilar. Our tale of the tape brought to you by Nitro, the official sports supplement of the UFC. Check it out at nitro.tv. 27-year-old Yves Edwards, 3 years older than the newcomer Nick Aguilar, and the reach will be a factor, as it always seems to be when Edwards enters the octagon. Our referee for this matchup, Big Larry Landless, set to get these lightweights underway. Nick Aguilar making his UFC debut. Yves Edwards, his sixth appearance inside the octagon.
Let's rock and roll, let's go.
And we are underway.
Touch gloves at the beginning of the bout.
Yves Edwards, he found out late he wouldn't be fighting Thomas, so I don't think a lack of preparation will be a factor at all.
No, he's in excellent shape, and he's always in excellent shape. He's constantly training. He's constantly not just training for a fight, but training to improve himself.
A big high kick by Aguilar.
Yeah, that was wild, a front kick.
Yeah.
Nick Aguilar said before the fight, he said that he doesn't think anybody takes it to Yves Edwards. They respect him a little bit too much. He wants to go after.
Now that can be a dangerous proposition, or it can be an effective proposition.
Everything when you're in the ring with Yves Edwards is a dangerous proposition.
That's the fact, isn't it? Edwards, after losing his first two fights, has whipped off 3 very impressive victories. And he seems to be, as we talked about before, getting better and better every time he enters the gates.
Absolutely. He's got all the bases covered. He's excellent on the ground, and he's nasty standing up.
Well, Aguilar wants to use those legs, at least it would seem, at this point, to size up Yves Edwards. But, you know, there is a reach advantage, 5'10", 5'8", but it doesn't seem as dynamic as we've seen in the past with Edwards' previous opponents.
No, Aguilar's pretty tall for this weight, too.
Sizing each other up. Scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, lightweight fight. 15-2, the mixed martial arts record of Nick Aguilar.
Yeah, I don't think Yves knows a lot about this guy, so he's probably just trying to feint him a little and see
Let's
how
go,
he
let's
reacts.
go, mix it up.
Good leg kick there.
You always wish you have a lot of tape on somebody, although some of the fighters nowadays, Joe, as you know, just say, I don't care what the other guy does, I'm going to stick with my game plan.
That's kind of crazy. You know, I mean, everyone has their own game plan, but you should have at least a mental picture of what a guy does, in my personal opinion.
You know, scouting reports have worked very well for the camp out of Oregon, Tour, the champion, and Milicic. They look at their opponents as well. Aguilar's showing some impressive kicks, although none have landed at this point.
Yeah, Yves actually landed that one first, and Aguilar was a little off balance when he threw his.
Yeah, keeping at least Edwards off balance at this point, as you see there.
He slipped.
He is. Now Aguilar thinking about a takedown. Well, it was a slip, but Aguilar, as you said, went right after.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. He's going right to him. He's not showing any signs of intimidation.
Yeah, this may be the 10th anniversary, but it's an opportunity of a lifetime when you're somebody who wants to get into the UFC and stay there.
You know what? Any young guy coming into the UFC, they know they have to put on a show. There's so many good fighters out there. There's so many different farm schools right now, fights that are going on. Monty Cox, these guys are all fighting out of the Extreme Challenge in the Midwest. There's just so many of them. I mean, it's just, there's so many good guys fighting. When you come into the UFC, this is the Super Bowl. You got to put on a show.
I love that Aguilar says his favorite technique are punches to the face.
Let's go, let's
We'll see
go.
if he's able to establish that. Right now, he's got Eve Edwards at least neutralized from getting into his offensive gameplay.
Gotta use it, let's go.
Aguilar's throwing a lot of foot stomps in there too, which is, you know, something people don't think about too much, but very effective tactic. Marco Huas was the originator of that. So you know Aguilar's a student of the game.
On a night where we celebrate the great history of this sport,
Stop.
names like
Separate.
Marco
Let's go.
Huas
Turn around.
mentioned prominently. They're gonna break him up. There was no action going, and so they're back to the center of the octagon. 140 remains in round number 1.
You can see the welts already developing on Aguilar's left leg. And another one to go with that.
That was good.
In the inside of the left thigh, Eve Edwards. Again, Dean Thomas suffered a broken hand during his training and preparation. Those two may see each other still somewhere down the line.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Those two guys are in the top 5 of the lightweight division, without a doubt. They had a wrap-off on the underground fight forum, which I believe Dean won. I believe I'll give Dean the decision in that.
All right, 1-0 wrap, Dean.
But,
Whoa, high kick, good block by Edwards. Yeah, Aguilar's kicks seem to be fairly proficient.
Yeah, it was good. It didn't have a lot of steam on it, though. That was more of a slap. Didn't really turn it over.
A good combination with the kicks. He's hitting that same spot on the left leg of Nick Aguilar. And even though that's a low kick, it doesn't look like as much at home, Joe. That still does a ton of damage. Look at the welts on the left leg of Nick Aguilar.
Yeah, it's looking nasty. Those leg kicks, you know, you look at him, you go, well, he's only kicking his leg. You have no idea how much that hurts. It's like when you play a video game and you see your character's health go down immediately. That's what it feels like. Every time you get kicked, like, your power goes down. You just, you know, you still move around, you pretend nothing's happening. You notice the difference between Aguilar kicks and Aguilar kicks. He's kicking, his kicks are getting there, and he's throwing, but they don't have the same kind of torque that Eve's kicks have. Whoa, he slipped.
Another slip, but he's right back up.
Eve's going after him now.
So not a lot of engaging in the first round, as Edwards was the one who was able to connect on those low kicks that we described a moment ago. Now, Eve Edwards has earned respect within the community, which is of the mixed martial arts community. We wonder at one point if he won't be nicknamed the Tooth Fairy, as he seems to dislodge some dental work from time to time.
The Aaron Riley fight is tough to watch. He fought Aaron Riley and just hit him with just a dozen knees in the face. Aaron had to go through extensive dental surgery after that fight.
Still considered one of the best fights in mixed martial arts history. Edwards seems to be a bit more aggressive after discussing things with his corner after round 1. Spinning back, but again, as you pointed out before, Joe, not a lot on the potential finish of those kicks.
No.
And another slip for Eve Edwards.
Yeah, Eve's landing, though. Look at that leg. Right leg, left leg of Aguilar is really red right now.
Remember those big kicks that chopped down Tank Abbott from Pedro Hizzo years ago.
Yeah, over and over again he's landing, and that's going to mess up Aguilar's ability to shoot. It's going to mess up his ability to punch. It's going to take a lot out of him. And right now, he's just kind of like throwing his legs around.
Sure seems as though Aguilar wants to line Eve Edwards up, that he can't seem to do so. Why?
Well, he's a much better striker. He's a much better striker. I mean, Aguilar's tough as nails. I mean, look at him. He's like, come on, hit me again. But that doesn't do any good. All right, Aguilar's a wrestler. He should be trying to take Eve Edwards down. Standing up, he's going to get crushed. You got to adapt as the fight's going on. And right now, he's not going to win the stand-up war. It should be pretty evident, but yet he stays in there.
So is it the respect for the knees that has, at least at this point, had Aguilar avoid a potential takedown until right there?
I don't know. I don't know why he's not trying. I mean, he might just be thinking, you know what, I can bang with this guy. I'm a good puncher. You know, I mean, he's getting me now, but I'll get him later. I don't know what his mentality is. I don't know what he's thinking. He's a really tough guy, and sometimes that goes against you. I mean, look, you see the difference? He's throwing kicks.
Absolutely.
They're just throwing him out there, and that leg has got to be jello by now. If it's not, it's going to be jello by the end of this round. He needs to get this fight to the ground. That's the only way he's going to win. If he stands up with Eve like this, he's going to get either KO'd or he's going to get battered.
Now that left leg has been battered so far.
Yeah. Oh, it's not going to get any better.
It's going to feel like cookie batter in a little bit.
Let's go, let's go.
Oh, there it is, a big shot. And Eve Edwards coming in quickly on Aguilar, trying to finish the fight. Aguilar seems to be okay. He's defending as Edwards now takes it over, and the fight is over. The fight is over. Eve Edwards has finished Nick Aguilar here in round 2.
Eve Edwards is a bad man. You cannot like Eve Edwards unless you've got skills like him.
Referee stoppage, 2 minutes and 14 seconds into the second round. For the winner, Eve Edwards.
Time to welcome Keith Raquel back to the Mohegan Sun, pride of the Massachusetts Submission Academy. He'll be well supported here. His opponent, newcomer Chris Ligori. His favorite technique, punching. Our tale of the tape brought to you by Nitro, the official sports supplement of the UFC. Check it out at nitro.tv. 16 years, a driver's license. The difference in age between Keith Raquel and Chris Ligori.
An interesting way of thinking about it.
Raquel was driving when Ligori was born. It was a baby, and now they will clash inside the gated walls in a middleweight matchup. Our referee, Big John McCarthy.
All right, gentlemen, here we go, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on, come on.
I love when he says that.
Absolutely.
Red trunks for Raquel, black trunks for Ligori.
Nice inside leg kick by Ligori right off the bat.
Ligori is taken down. Ducked under the right, and he's able to work from the half guard to begin things here in round number 1.
Raquel's got head and arm control, and he's trying to get his leg out of half guard. Right now, Ligori's got his one leg, his left leg trapped. But Raquel, oh, full guard. Nice scramble. Uh-oh, someone's bleeding.
There's a cut over the right eye of Chris Ligori.
Raquel's gonna press him up against the fence. Drop some elbows now. I don't know if he's even seen it yet. He's trying to free his legs from Ligori's guard.
Open guard. No longer the half guard now. Raquel.
Ligori's taking a page out of Chuck Liddell's book and just standing up. Raquel's got double underhooks though. He should be able to take him back down. There he goes. He rolled him over. Good job by Ligori. Raquel's got a hold of him. You know what? There you go. I was just going to say he had him caught in a guillotine. That was how Raquel lost the first time he was in the UFC. He was having his way with Eugene Jackson, and Eugene caught him in a guillotine.
And he had won round number 1 pretty handily. And
yeah,
Raquel made that mistake, and he's been chomping at the bit to get back in since that point.
Again, he's trying to pass his guard. Raquel's got one leg free, still got one leg trapped. He's got good control of Ligori's upper body. See, he's got that head and arm control.
Good work, you're doing good.
He's got one arm trapped in between his legs and his arm and his head. He's going to try to work his legs free from there.
Raquel has jiu-jitsu, and so he is well-versed in submissions. And his ground skills are really his strength. Winner of 9 of his 12 mixed martial arts competitions.
Let go of the fence, you touch it again, you're done. I'm going to give you a foul. Let go of it, Chris.
You can hear Big John McCarthy telling Chris Ligori he cannot continue to grab the fence.
Don't grab the fence again.
Yeah, it is. Raquel trying to work a little ground and pound.
Yeah, Raquel, he wants to get free from his guard. I mean, right now, he's landing some shots, but if he can get free, then he can get some leverage. He's going to try to pass again.
Ligori avoiding grabbing the fence.
Grab it.
McCarthy's right there. It's a pretty good cut over the right eye of Chris Ligori.
It's a pretty good cut, but Raquel hasn't had a chance to open it up yet, so it's not hindering his vision yet.
Halfway through round number 1. Raquel demonstrating his ground skills. He's really trying to use that fence to limit the movement of Chris Ligori.
Let's get busy, let's go.
He's expending a lot of energy trying to work his way out of this guard though.
Here we go.
Yeah, but you know what? That's important. You got to get out of the guard if you want to do some real damage. He's got one leg free. Now he's in the half guard. He can get a little more leverage here. But what he really ultimately wants to do is pass and either get side control or mount. From there, he can get real leverage and drop some real bombs or go for a submission.
Well, he's taking away some time and space as well.
Ligori's slippery.
Continuing to work him up against the fence, and Ligori slips out.
Ligori's and he reverses it. Raquel swept him back over, though. They're battling right now for position.
There's the tap of guillotine! The guillotine effective, it's all revenge!
He got him in his own guillotine.
From a guillotine loss to a guillotine victory for Keith Raquel. And that did not take long. He sunk it, he extended, and he finishes the night quickly of Chris Ligori. For the official decision, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner at 3 minutes, 29 seconds of the very first round. for the winner by tap out from a guillotine choke, Keith the Rock Raquel!
This fight is about respect and regaining prominence. Former top heavyweight contender against former heavyweight champion. Who will survive to fight another day under the big lights? 29-year-old Brazilian Pedro the Rock Rizzo against Rico I'm No Longer Suave Rodriguez. Both trying to get back into prominence, have lost their nicknames. Well, let's see which one gains a new nickname here tonight. Larry Landless will be our referee on a night in which both, and I don't think they both can, but both of these heavyweights dearly need to impress.
Absolutely.
Are you ready?
Rizzo.
Are you ready?
Rodriguez.
Let's go.
Former top heavyweight contender, former heavyweight champion. Collide here at the Mohegan Sun. The long black shorts. And the footwear for Rico Rodriguez. Pedro Rizzo.
This is the last fight on the contract for both of these guys, so it's definitely do or die. And it's two completely contrasting styles. Rico wants to get him to the ground. Pedro wants to stand up.
Pedro trying to engage early. He avoids the takedown.
Oh.
And he'll kick. Rico, of course, would love Pedro to take it down, but he won't. And Rico will be forced to stand up in a moment here.
You know what? Pedro might just keep kicking his legs until Rico can't stand up.
Pedro's got a look in his eyes that I have not seen in quite some time. He looks determined to push the action here tonight. It'll be interesting to see if he does.
He's going to let him stand up.
He clearly seems focused. Rico tries to fly in.
Rico loves that jumping knee, and that's a dangerous move with a striker like Rizzo. Rizzo easily could compete in K1. He's a world-class kickboxer that chooses to fight in MMA.
31-0-1 with 30 knockouts in his kickboxing career, Pedro Rizzo, illustrating your point, Joe. Four-time Brazilian Muay Thai champion. Rico looks to combine.
Rico's going to get jacked if he wants to stand with Pedro Rizzo. He wants to take this guy to the ground.
And that's why, win or lose, most guys don't like to fight Pedro Rizzo because they know they're going to get hit.
Even great strikers. I mean, Arlovsky's a dangerous striker. He stood with Pedro. He did okay for a little while, and then he got knocked unconscious with a big right hand.
There's the shoot and the avoidance once again.
Yeah, that seems way too easy. If this is how it's going to be, this is a long night for Rico because Pedro doesn't seem like he's having any problem keeping Rico from taking him down.
Kicks in the leg when your opponent is down or fine.
This is
Rico is trying to fake like he was
Rico.
going to get up, yeah, and look for the takedown, but that is a very bad spot indeed.
The only thing he's got going for him is that Pedro can't kick him in the head when he's down like this.
Pedro already has some blood on the right side of his eye, and we know that Pedro has bled before quite easily.
Yeah, matchmaker Joe Silva says that Pedro bleeds during the intros, and he's got a good point. Pedro's got massive scar tissue around both of his eyes, across the bridge of his nose, on his cheeks. I mean, this is what happens when you've been in crazy wars. This guy's been in wars with some dangerous guys.
Now, I don't know, you know, did Pedro become too impatient there and give in, if you will, to allow Rico Rodriguez, even if it's on his back, to try to work his game?
Yeah, I don't understand the logic here. I don't know what his strategy is. Maybe he has been working on some ground and pound, and he wants to push Rico up against the fence. I'm not sure.
And it seemed like Pedro, if he could continue to be patient, could have forced Rico to have to stand back up. And now instead, Rodriguez will work from his strength at his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background.
Yeah, Rico's got an excellent guard. I mean, Rico can submit guys. If Pedro gets stuck, leaves an arm in there, Rico can tap him out. He almost had Tim Sylvia in an armbar, and Tim Sylvia slammed him.
Action.
And Rico Rodriguez is a true believer in the martial art, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's had success in submission tournaments in Abu Dhabi. He's had success in the Pride Championships, and a lot of his success has come from his ground skills, not from the skills he has on the feet, and Pedro knows that, so now he'll let Rico get back up, and this will be back into Pedro's world.
That looked like Rico pushed him off. I don't know why Rico, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, wouldn't want to keep him in the guard. I mean, he should have kept him in there and held on to him and tried to figure out a way to get a submission out of him, or at the very least, try to sweep him and get the top position so he could drop some bombs down on Pedro. But standing up like this is bad.
especially if Pedro wants to bring it. And it seems as if, Joe, tonight Pedro is a little more willing to not wait for the counter punch, which is what he's been criticized of doing in the past, where he's been very inactive.
Yeah, Pedro is having no problem stopping the takedown. It looks like he's stopping it pretty easy. The more time Rico stands on his feet with Pedro, the more likely he is to get knocked out.
Better keep those hands up, baby.
I mean, Rico was knocked out by Tim Sylvia, and Tim Sylvia is a bigger guy, but Pedro hits harder.
Pedro may still be the hardest hitter in UFC history.
Oh, he's nasty. That knockout of Josh Barnett is one of the greatest mixed martial arts knockouts ever. Rico's doing some dance moves. He's got a little suave left in him.
Final seconds of round number 1 here at the Mohegan Sun. Rico grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, as he calls it, the ghetto of ghettos. Lived up above a funeral home, moved to California years ago with $100 in his pocket. Wants to make a little money and revive his UFC career here tonight. He's got a little hometown crowd. I remember when he fought for the belt here at Mohegan Sun, his mom was in attendance. She said, "If you lose, do not come home."
That's nasty.
He won and he came home and he got fed, he got his pasta, he was all happy. Then Tim Sylvia came along.
Rico looks like he's really struggling to get takedowns here. I mean, he doesn't look like he's. I thought the best way for him to take down Pedro is the bum rush, just charge him against the fence. But he's looking to just do a regular double leg, and every time he does that, Pedro stops him. Now, that's what I'm talking about. These leg kicks are just evil. He's got hard leg kicks. That shin comes slamming into your leg. You can only take so many of those from Pedro Rizzo.
Remember, as I mentioned in his UFC debut at Ultimate Brazil, the way he continued to use that leg to chop down Tank Abbott. Mark Coleman, Trey Telligman, Kosaka, Sever, Barnett
Again,
have
Pedro
all been
stops.
defeated by Pedro Rizzo, and all the result of kicks. He wants the inside of that right leg. He'll take the outside of the left instead.
You know what? The left leg is the one he wants. That's the one he worked on before. His right.
Same exact spot too, Joe.
And Rico gave him a little indication that it hurt him. When they went to the ground, Rico pulled that leg away and held on it with his hand. He knows that leg is battered and bruised already. And he's only taken one good right leg kick.
And as you pointed out in an earlier match, when that front leg starts to incur damage and you can see already it's tender on Rico, then all of a sudden you're not as quick moving, you're not as quick shooting. It slows you down.
It completely takes away your shot. Your shot in wrestling is all about bouncing off that front leg, and his front leg is jello right now. You can see him limping on it already, and that's one leg kick. If Pedro was just more aggressive and landed some more, he could take Rico out with leg kicks.
Why is there a fear for Pedro to come in and really try to put together combinations? Does he respect the striking of Rico that much?
It's the great mystery with Pedro Rizzo. Pedro Rizzo is one of the greatest strikers in mixed martial arts. If he had the aggressive attitude of, say, Vanderlei Silva, he would just crush everybody. But he's a counter fighter. His style, he likes to sit and wait for the perfect opportunity. If you chase after him and you leave openings a la Josh Barnett, he'll take you out, no doubt. But if you stand there and just pose with him, he'll pose back with you.
Well, Pedro's obviously in control on the judges' scorecards, but he needs to do more than win tonight. He needs to impress. He needs to show us that the old Pedro is still somewhere inside this Brazilian body.
Well, you know what? Pedro has taken a lot of punishment over the years.
Yeah.
He's reluctant to get more scars. He's reluctant to get battered. You know, he wants to fight smart. But sometimes, to make an exciting fight, you can't fight smart. You got to be aggressive.
Here comes Rico up. Larry Landless will stand him. Just over 2 minutes remains in round 2. Scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, 2 heavyweights.
Rico's favoring that leg. And like I said, we're talking one clean shot.
Single leg and slippery is Rizzo again. That's about 4 or 5 failed attempts at the takedown and a great sprawl by Rizzo.
Pedro just needs to land some leg kicks and he can take Rico out of this fight. Just a few more leg kicks and Rico will have nothing. He'll be a sitting duck.
Rico with a combination and it misses.
And you see the skill level between Rico, the difference between the skill level of striking between Rico and Pedro.
There's another great sprawl.
Yeah, Rico is not looking so good here.
No, not at all. And Rico is in much better condition than he was when he fought in Pride on short notice.
Well, he's fighting a totally different fighter. Nogueira wanted to go to the ground with him. That's the last thing Pedro wants. And you know what? Pedro did go to the ground with him once. He was in Rico's guard, and Rico didn't capitalize.
Rico's been training hard for his return to the octagon. Lost about 40 pounds, but
He's got to do something to get out of this.
you can punch but not kick in the face the downed opponent.
What?
Trying to move in.
That's odd. See,
That's the second time he's done it, and you and I said that before, but I think Pedro's just getting impatient.
Yeah, could be. He might have a strategy. He might have been working on this grounding and pounding from inside the guard. I don't know. Maybe he sees something in Rico's guard that he thinks he could just punch him in the face and soften him up.
Well, in training, he had to visualize that at one point he would be in Rico's guard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously he worked on takedown defense. His takedown defense is excellent. And maybe this was the other thing he worked on, so he said, all right, I've done that. Let me just see what happens when I get inside his guard if I can pound on him.
And Pedro has respect for Rico.
10 seconds.
10 seconds left in the round. I mean, he said that he thought Rico beat Nogueira. Usually people take care of their countrymen.
Very sloppy there by Rico.
Break easy. Ready? You ready? Let's rock and roll.
Final 5 minutes. And something has to go differently here for Rico Rodriguez. He almost needs to either submit or get a ground and pound attack going and finish the fight because he's way behind on the scorecards.
See, Pedro will just stand in front of you. If you stand right in front of him, he will just stand in front of you. He just waits for you to do something. That's just his style. And a lot of people think it's unfortunate because he's such a devastating striker. In my opinion, the best striker in mixed martial arts. I mean, his leg kicks are just insane. Oh. Rico loves that flying knee. Rico's throwing with him, which is surprising to me.
Which at this point, though, Joe, if he can't get him down, it may be the only thing he can do, right? As dangerous as it is, it may be the only thing he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Pedro takes a hell of a shot, too. I mean, Rico, that knee caught him right on the chin.
Yeah.
Pedro just shrugs it off. Interesting strategy by Rico. I did not expect him to try to stand up with Pedro. I figured he would just rush him.
Oh, that one connected. It was once told to me it's like a baseball bat hitting you in the leg at 80 miles an hour.
Fortunately for Rico, he's catching with the instep. He's not. Rico's getting his leg out, so it's not quite slamming in with the shin, but he can only take so many of those. Pedro kicks real hard.
So that one was 40 miles an hour.
Either way, it sucks.
Yeah, man.
It's just shocking to me that Pedro doesn't throw more of them. It seems like it's there for him. Feint with the left hand, bang, right leg kick.
Now, you know the one thing that has to be in his mind is when he throws, that's when you'd think Rico would shoot, but we haven't seen it.
Well, you would just think that he would be happy that Rico's willing to stand with him at all. I mean, he's the superior striker, clearly. You see right there. Oh, there it is. That's what I'm talking about.
Caught him with the eye. He poked him. He poked him in a timeout. And a timeout, a referee stoppage, and he caught him in the eye with a finger. Because Rico pointed to it right away.
Rico saying he poked him in the eye, and referee Larry Landis is saying he didn't see it. Let's take a look at the replay. Couldn't quite see it there.
It was almost like he was pushing away as opposed to punching. Let's watch again. See? It wasn't a punch, like he was pushing the head away.
It looks like he got a finger stuck right in his eye. Yeah.
Yep.
It looked exactly like that. That definitely wasn't a punch.
Absolutely wasn't.
That's an unfortunate consequence with these open-handed gloves. In order to have grappling and striking, we have to have open-handed gloves. I mean, in boxing for years that was a problem. Guys would thumb guys on purpose. Roberto Duran was famous for doing it. That's how he knocked out Davey Moore. Thumbed his eye, closed it up, and then took him out of the mix. Let's take another look at it here. You see Pedro trying to push Rico away? Boom, finger in the eyeball. You clearly see his right thumb go right into Rico's eye. Right there. And Rico winces.
That wasn't intentional, was it?
You know what? He's just trying to keep him away. I'm sure he's trying to not do it. I mean, Pedro's not a dirty fighter.
Right.
No doubt. But, you know, it's like I said, it's an unfortunate consequence of having open-handed gloves.
Are you ready?
Well, Rico seems okay. The doctor checks him. And now they continue here in round 3. Show of class, great competitors, both experienced in this mixed martial arts game. Referee warned Pedro Hizzo, and did claim he felt as well that it was unintentional.
Just what is stopping Pedro Hizzo from throwing more kicks?
And it's Rico getting closer to wanting to engage himself.
30 seconds.
And he cannot even get the clinch.
No, Pedro's doing a great job of moving to the side, getting the double underhooks, moving to the side, and pushing him off. But why isn't he kicking? Throw that leg kick. The crowd feels the same way.
On a night where Marco Huas will be honored, Pedro Hizzo again wants to make his hero and mentor proud. And he needs to push the action here in the final 2 minutes.
Rico has lost a lot of steam in his shoot. His shot it's just, he's barely committing to it now. Oh, there it is
another
again.
big one.
That's what I'm talking about. All he needs is a couple more of those and this fight is over.
What I'm surprised, Joe, is that he doesn't follow up on that kick with a combination, because he's going to have Rico being hesitant and going to reach down, and then he leaves that face, boom, finish it up with the follow.
Absolutely. There's so many guys that they just would love to put their brain inside Pedro Hizzo's body. I mean, the guy's just an insanely good striker, but he'll throw one shot and then just stand there. Another one. If he just keeps going. If you could put Phil Baroni's brain in Pedro Hizzo, he would never lose.
He would speak better English as well.
He would. He would swear a lot more, too, though.
Yes, that's true as well.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Pedro is such a lovable fighter and competitor. You get frustrated along with him at times.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pedro Hizzo. I've always been a big fan of his. But unless a guy comes after him, he can make for a boring fight.
And here's one, take it out of Chuck Liddell's book, if you will. Why not fake the leg kick and then come with the big right hand? Easy for me to say here, but we've seen it utilized before.
It seems like Rico's left leg is almost useless right now. He's taking those shots on it. It's rubber, another one right there on the ground. He's taking these shots on it, and I don't think he can get out of the way of the leg kick. That's my point. I think if Pedro feints with the jab and just steps in with that right leg kick, he's going to land it every time. See, look, you see how he gets up?
Stands up, absolutely.
His leg is jacked right here.
I'll tell you what, give a lot of credit to Rico Rodriguez for hanging in, because he's going to be limping on that leg for quite some time.
I just don't understand it.
Now, Pedro's going to win. Not the way he wanted, not the fight Rico wanted, as Rico was never able to work or utilize any of his original game plan.
I think Pedro clearly won a decision, but I think Rico won in the fact that Pedro didn't go after him. I think Rico dodged a bullet. I really do. I think it was there for him. He just didn't take it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Judge Jeff Mullen scores the bout 30-27. Judge Doug Crosby scores the bout 30-27. And Judge Nelson Hamilton scores the bout 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Pedro Hizzo.
We are set to welcome back Milicic product Ruthless Robbie Lawler. His opponent, likely motivated to go toe-to-toe, former Indiana boxing champion Chris Lytle. Ruthless Robbie Lawler returns to UFC action against Chris Lights Out Lytle. Lawler made a huge impact with his debut at UFC 37 against Iron Chin Aaron Riley. It was a 3-round war that is considered to be one of the best fights in UFC history. He followed up that win with knockouts of Steve Berger at UFC 37.5 and Tiki at UFC 40. Lawler's only loss came against Pete the Secret Weapon Spratt at UFC 42. Lawler suffered a hip injury that forced him to quit at 2:28 of the second round.
I'm back, my hip's 100%, and I'm ready to get back in the octagon. My strategy is just to go out there and fight, move and react, and it has nothing to do with him. It's like a video game. You go out there and you just do what you're supposed to do.
Chris Lights Out Lytle is a well-rounded fighter who can win by submission or knockout.
I don't think he's got that much experience in mixed martial arts at all. I think he's kind of more of just a brawler, more of just I'm going to hit you harder than you're going to hit me type boxer. There's some holes in there that I can get in and actually use boxing skills instead of brawling skills.
Up next, Ruthless Robbie Lawler versus Chris Lights Out Lytle. Our tale of the tape brought to you by Nitro, the official sports supplement of the UFC, found at nitro.tv. 29-year-old Chris Lytle, second time in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. After a 7-month healing process, Robbie Lawler re-enters the UFC. Big John McCarthy will be our referee.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Lytle
Get it on!
and Lawler will get our night underway. What we think we will see is the pro boxer wanting to go toe-to-toe with the guy who loves to slug. This could be very entertaining.
Robbie likes to slug. He stands in a southpaw position, very unorthodox, and he likes to throw big, wild, crazy right hooks.
White trunks, as you
He takes
saw,
him down.
for Lytle.
Oh, he's stuck in a guillotine.
Spins out of it, cartwheels, or did he get out of it?
He's out.
Lytle does have a grappling background. Wrestled in high school in the state of Indiana, attended Indiana University. He's a fireman now in his home state. Trying to work that neck a bit.
Oh, nice. Good sweep, but Robbie avoided it. Lytle's showing some pretty good ground skills here. He's very comfortable in this position.
Well, as comfortable as Lytle is on his feet.
Slam!
Good slam. Taking a page out of Matt Hughes' book. That's that Milicic training.
Absolutely. I mean, you train in Milicic fighting systems, you're training with the toughest animals in the business. Jeremy Horn, Matt Hughes, Jens Pulver, Tony Fricklin. That's just a room full of animals. Tim Sylvia. How can you not, if you survive, you get better. And the kid's only 21.
Ruthless Robbie Lawler.
Lytle's doing a good job of defending on his back. And now the word is also that Lytle has excellent submissions. We'll see if he can work something from here. What is that?
I have no idea.
That's the first time I've ever seen that. Robbie Lawler threw his legs back and tried to somehow or another unhook Lytle's guard.
Trying to do some damage within the guard.
And Lytle went for a leg.
Lawler trying to tee off with the left. Lytle avoiding at this point. Half guard now. Somewhat. See if he can get a dominant position from here, Joe.
Lawler seems to be overpowering him. Every time he tries to do something, Lawler seems to be much stronger than him.
Working in close quarters, not what we truly expected to see, but it seems like Lawler's very comfortable here. Pat Milicic told me before the fight tonight, if Lawler has improved the most in one area, it is his grappling skills.
Oh, big right hand.
And that
big right hand
he
by Lawler.
just misses with the second left.
Lytle's going for a heel hook. Oh, it looks like he's got it. It looks like he's got it. He's got his hand under the ankle. This could be ugly.
Robbie is shaking his head no for now. Left connects to Lytle. Can he hold on?
Here's the problem with going for heel hooks. You leave yourself exposed for punches.
And Robbie did the best thing there, Joe. He threw a big haymaker and forced Lytle to let go.
Yeah, that's the thing about going for leg locks. Every time you go for a leg lock, you basically commit yourself to that leg, and if the guy's got his two hands free, and if he can see your head, he's going to punch it, and those are free shots.
Robbie Lawler's father, a drag racer in the 40s. Taekwondo black belt. Robbie grew up around the sport of Taekwondo and mixed martial arts.
Let's go, let's go.
Now he's trying to zoom himself up the welterweight raceway.
Robbie's trying to pass his guard right here. He's in Lytle's half guard. He wants to slide his left leg through.
Scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Lawler on the top, black trunks, white trim. Chris Lytle, his second entrance into the UFC, but he's a very experienced mixed martial artist. Nearly 40 fights in his MMA career.
Lytle's doing a good job of stifling Robbie Lawler here, but he's not getting anything done.
Lytle has that look of frustration.
Well, he's stuck underneath here. He's got to figure out a way to sweep Robbie.
Hook and shoot, absolute fighting championship champion, 175 Indiana State boxing champion, 175-pound weight class for Chris Lytle. Works with Jason Godsey.
Robbie's still trying to pass that guard. He's got to get his left leg out in order to do some real damage here. He's trapped in between Lytle's legs. If he can get his left leg out and get either inside control or the mount. All right, now Lytle's got him in full guard again. If he can posture up, Robbie can still land some shots. When you see Lytle throwing his legs up like that, he's looking to secure a submission. He's looking to try to get an arm, lock a shoulder down, and perhaps get him in an arm bar or a triangle.
He's trying to throw down from within the guard. Now he's out, and he delivers and just misses with the right.
This is where Robbie's dangerous. If you give him room to punch, he's going to hurt you.
And Robbie Lawler smiles and says, bring it on. Goes for the midsection.
He's got an arm trap here. He can get a triangle. If Lytle can secure a triangle here, all he needs to do is get his right leg, get his right foot underneath his left knee. Robbie's not enough time.
What a great finish to round one.
Good ground and pound by Robbie Lawler. Let's take another look at the ending of that fight. Robbie throwing some bombs from the top. He gives him some space. And he gets kicked in the head. You give Robbie some room, he's gonna throw some bombs on you. And here comes the kick. Boom!
Oh, he connected.
And he shook his head and laughed.
You see the reaction of Robbie Lawler.
Robbie's a tough kid.
Control the biceps when you're inside.
Robbie Lawler, Chris Lytle, entertaining round number one here to begin our evening at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. See if this second round stays on its feet a little while. Remember we said, pro boxing experience and a good follow with the kick by Chris Lytle.
Lytle looks very comfortable standing up. Robbie's got a much more unorthodox style. Sometimes he catches guys with wild stuff because of that, because he comes from odd angles. He just explodes and swings at you. Lytle's much more orthodox.
After the turn of the calendar page, UFC 46, Super Saturday. Mandalay Bay featured matchup for the UFC light heavyweight crown. Randy Couture, Vitor Belfort. Tickets on sale now. This will be supernatural. Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas, Ultimate Fighting Championship action.
Lytle's having success with the left hook. He's landed it twice so far. One time Robbie stepped back and threw his arms and kind of mocked him. And the second time he landed it again. That's an opening.
Show our respect here in this second round. They both realize the other can do some damage.
If Lytle's had some success with that left hook, look for him to feint with his right hand and throw the left hook over the top when Robbie reacts to it. He's swinging with the left hook.
McCarthy trying to push the pace a bit.
Lytle mixes it up really well, too. That's another thing you're going to see from him. If he thinks that Robbie's looking for punches, he'll throw some kicks. Very intelligent fighter.
Get him leaning down to defend that kick and then come around with a big haymaker.
Yeah, I don't know what Robbie's doing here. He's moving around, or he's looking for an opening, or looking to shoot another leg kick. Robbie moves away every time Lytle moves in. It doesn't look like he wants any of this exchange.
He's not really connecting with those left kicks, but he's neutralizing any type of offense that Lawler might possess here.
Well, Lawler's not offering any offense right now. He's just moving away. This is very unusual for him. I hope he's not hurt again. This is very unusual for Robbie Lawler, who's usually very aggressive.
Now, he has claimed many times that the damage inflicted on the hip that cost him 7 months of rehabilitation had no bearing on what Pete Spratt was doing to him that night. In fact, he said, Dr. Rogan, it was not Pete Spratt.
Did he say that? I'm not a doctor.
He did say that.
Good right hand by Chris Lytle.
Lytle now. And Lawler counts out.
Big right hand by Robbie Lawler. That's where he's dangerous.
In close quarter, he swings it around.
Look, if you brawl with him, he's got the power. Robbie Lawler is a much more powerful striker. Chris Lytle is a little more seasoned. Chris Lytle's a little more precise and technical. But Robbie Lawler, if he hits you, he's going to put you to sleep.
He's a home run hitter.
Without a doubt. Every punch is a home. Lay down, go under. See, he just swings. He's just got Jack Dempsey written all over him. Every time he swings, he's trying to cripple you.
He's a defensive end. He's looking for sacks. He's not looking to contain the run. He's looking to crush the quarterback. Good body shot by Lytle.
With Robbie Lawler's style, he has to be in excellent condition because every punch he throws, he explodes. Lytle can pick his spots, you know, half speed, decide when to throw real power shots, look for openings. Robbie just went, and he almost caught him with the left hand there as he's coming in.
1 minute, 17 seconds remains in round 2. Scheduled duration of 3 5-minute rounds, welterweight matchup. Lytle trying to find the win column for the first time in his UFC career.
Lytle landed a leg kick to his butt. Robbie Lawler laughed. Robbie's just kind of moving away from him again. Might be pacing himself for another explosion.
This is kind of what we thought we would see, although we thought both fighters would engage a bit more.
Oh, nice right kick. Nice leg kick by Robbie Lawler.
And going down, Lytle gets a little right in.
I don't think Lytle expected that. Nice inside leg kick.
Lytle trying to work some combinations. 30 seconds remains in round 2. Lawler very defensive, as you have pointed out a few times, Joe, here in this round.
You know what? He might have a strategy. He might be patient, might be deciding to pace himself a little more and explode later.
They look good ground and pound in round 1. It's a very different looking round number 2.
This is a very, there he goes, big right hook, big left hand.
And he swings for the fences and swings for the fences only.
Every time.
You will never say Pete Rose and Robbie Lawler in the same sentence because Robbie Lawler does not like hitting singles.
So let's take a look at some of the action here. Big right hand by Robbie Lawler, left to the body, left hook to the head. See, that's when he's dangerous. You slug with him, he's gonna get you. And Lytle realized that, and Lytle got out. Watch this left hook. When he brawls, if Lytle wants to stand right in front of him, Robbie's gonna hit him.
Tonight's main event for the welterweight championship. Lawler's teammate, Matt Hughes, defends his title for the 5th time. Newcomer Frank Trigg will try to take away the hardware. Matt Hughes, Frank Trigg, welterweight championship here tonight, our 10th anniversary of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. November 12th, 1993, Denver's McNichols Arena. UFC 1 took place. The UFC was born. Hall of Fame inductees tonight. Your Viewer Choice Awards.
Get it on, come on, guys,
round
fight.
set, Lytle in the white shorts. Lawler in the black with the white trim. I think on the ground and pound, you would give round 1 to Robbie Lawler.
Oh, good exchange.
Lytle thought so. Something tells me somebody's going to get knocked out here in the 3rd round.
Whoa, good uppercut. Robbie snuck in with an uppercut. Oh, he showed his right hand. Looks like Robbie's looking to pick a spot to blast. Maybe that's what all this backing up is about. I mean, he doesn't seem to be intimidated by Chris Lytle. He's not getting hurt. This might just be an unusual strategy for him. He might just be picking a spot to explode.
He's having fun out there, that's for certain. Just a young man, 21 years old.
Bright future ahead of this guy if he continues in the sport.
Pat Miletich told me that his work ethic has finally caught up to his ability.
You know what? He's still a young kid.
And if that's the case, watch out. Well, let's see him ignite here. Working the uppercuts. He's smiling every time Lytle gets a shot or two in.
Oh,
Fakes that
nice
one.
kick.
Yep, and Lytle acknowledges.
You really see the contrasting strategies in the way they strike. Lytle is much more measured.
Yep.
Robbie just is an animal.
Well, Robbie's trying to
big right
disguise his
hand.
punches
Look
now.
at that.
Look at these guys. How about this?
What is going on here?
Little bit of posturing going on both sides.
Robbie gets nailed and he just screams and throws his hands up in the air. This kid's crazy.
This one's going to end by knockout. I don't know who's going to get it yet, but it's going to end by a knockout.
It's going to end. This is how it's going to end. This is Lawler's best shot to win this fight.
Steps out of the way of the left.
Oh, nice.
And a combination by Lawler. But he got a few shots in as well, Joe.
He did, but there's a big difference in the power. Robbie Lawler's a harder hitter. Chris Lytle's hurt right now. He got nailed
got finish in his eyes, does young Robbie Lawler.
And Lytle's chasing him, which is probably not the best thing to do right now.
But he feels like he's a pro boxer now, Joe.
Well, you know what? These aren't pro boxing gloves. These are little tiny 4-ounce gloves, and they hurt a whole lot more than big 8 or 10-ounce boxing gloves.
But this is why we thought this would be a great matchup, because they would be willing to go toe-to-toe in exchange. And what was a slower-paced second round had certainly picked up here in the third.
Could you imagine the kind of damage that a guy like Lennox Lewis could do with a 4-ounce glove like that?
Yes, and I don't want to.
I do. I want to see that. I can't wait till the day where a really good pro boxer enters in. Another exchange. Lytle looks like he's losing a little steam here.
147 remains in the fight. Lawler wants the home run. He wants the finish. Tried to work the uppercut and steps away from Chris Lytle. To put your opponent at risk, you must take some. And that is what Lawler has been willing to do here in the third.
You know what?
Straight left.
He's only got 1 minute and 20 seconds left in this bout. In my opinion, Robbie should turn this on and take this kid out. I think Lytle's still hurt.
And you know what? You don't want to leave anything up to the judges.
Exactly.
Left connects.
He got caught backing out straight.
There's a kick.
Leg kick. Robbie should lure this guy into another exchange, blast him out of here.
And Lytle must feel that he's behind on points after that first round, the ground and pound dominance up top. And another takedown in you, Robbie. I wonder if he's got the energy to take him down here with just 47 seconds remaining. They glance towards the big screens here in Mohegan Sun to keep track of the time remaining in the round.
That's what Robbie wants.
There's a takedown.
Nice sweep by Lytle, going for another heel hook. Lytle's very slow. He's got his back. He's got his back.
Well, as you mentioned before, you go for the heel. You go for the heel, you get hit in the head a lot of times.
He's got one hook in. If he can hold on to this position. Suplex. Robbie's laughing. If Lytle can get his hooks in from here, he's got his back.
10 seconds remains. 7 seconds remains. Lawler escapes. It's going to be a fight to the finish. A frantic finish, and it's all over.
Great finish.
They will go to the judges' scorecards. Robbie Lawler saying Chris Lytle. Great fight. Great fight. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. Judge Jeff Mullen scores the bout 29-28. Judge Doug Crosby scores the bout 29-28. And Judge Cecil Peebles scores the bout 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Ruthless Robbie
As we celebrate a decade of UFC memories, we enshrine the first 2 inductees into the UFC Hall of Fame. The sport he displayed was centuries old. His own family had been dominant in their homeland in his sport forever. Royce Gracie burst onto the scene at UFC 1. He would become the first UFC champion. He would become the first UFC legend. And tonight, he will become one of the first to be enshrined into the UFC Hall of Fame.
On November 12, 1993, Royce Gracie made history by becoming the first ever UFC tournament champion. His family was renowned in Brazil for their art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and for winning numerous fights with little rules. They were the masters at taking their opponents to the ground and finishing them with submission holds. Royce's father Helio modified the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu techniques they had learned to better work for people with less physical strength. Going on looks alone, no one would have picked the lanky young Brazilian to come out on top of the 8 men who entered that tournament. Some of the fighters were built like bodybuilders. Some were as tall as 6 foot 6 inches, and some as heavy as 415 pounds. Hoist stood 6 foot and weighed 176 pounds, his lean frame concealed by a jiu-jitsu gi. Hoist Gracie went on to shock the martial arts world by winning the tournament with ease. Many people's misconceptions about real fighting were blown out of the water. Hoist went on to win the 16-man tournament at UFC 2, and then won another 8-man tournament at UFC 4. At UFC 5, Hoist participated in the first ever UFC super fight against Ken Shamrock, which went to a draw. Hoist Gracie's influence on not only the UFC, but martial arts as a whole is undeniable. Hoist and his family helped to create and popularize the sport of mixed martial arts worldwide. Hoist Gracie, pioneer, champion, legend.
Our UFC Hall of Fame induction ceremony later tonight. Hoist Gracie will be joined by Ken Shamrock. They will be the charter members of the UFC Hall of Fame. And who else would be better choices? They love him on the eastern seaboard. The New York badass Phil Baroni once again ready and able, wants to tee up and display striking dominance. His combatant a lighter and lean down, Evan Tanner. Now in the middleweight division, we feature the return of the New York badass Phil Baroni against Evan Tanner, who will be making his middleweight debut. The New York badass Phil Baroni returns to the octagon after an almost 9-month layoff after suffering a major injury in training. Phil tore his pectoral muscle, but after surgery and rehab, he says he is stronger than ever. He looks to once again show off his speed and power like he did against such top competition as Dave Manet and Amar Suloev.
My prediction for this fight, vicious knockout. I'm taking him out. I'm taking him out fast. If you just happen to be sitting in the 6th row, heads up, because that's where his jaw will be after this fight. Catch it, hold on to it, find me after the show, and I'll autograph that bitch for you.
Evan Tanner is taking a page out of training partner Randy Couture's book and dropping down a weight class. Always a top contender at light heavyweight, Tanner could be a monster at middleweight. Tanner also trains with the only man to have ever beaten Baroni, Matt Lindland.
Matt Lindland has given me, a couple pointers on facing Phil Baroni, but I don't want to get into details or anything. This could be the fight of the night. Keep your eyes open. It's going to go fast, I think.
There's a lot of pride on the line for this one. Coming up next, the New York badass Phil Baroni versus Evan Tanner. 32-year-old Evan Tanner is down to 185 pounds. He will have a definitive reach advantage on 5'9", 25-year-old Phil Baroni, now fighting out of Las Vegas. The New York badass will have plenty in attendance to support him tonight. Larry Landless will be our referee. Tanner.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
And Baroni are set to go. How quickly will Evan Tanner want to bring this to the ground?
Very quickly. If he's standing up, he's going to want to clinch. That's the first thing he's going to do. Nice leg kick by Evan Tanner.
White shorts for Baroni.
Big right hand by Baroni. He's rocked
He caught him already. He caught him already, and he's trying to go in for the finish. Tanner.
Baroni's got vicious power.
Tanner wants the takedown because he got caught a couple of times already. The hand speed of Phil Baroni is ridiculously excessive.
He's got great hand speed, but the most important thing is when he hits you, it hurts. Everything hurts. He's got heavy hands.
The knee.
Good body shot. He can walk for the body shots.
Tanner trying to work early. This one may finish quickly. Baroni teeing off.
Phil's doing a good job standing up. He's peeling his arms off. He's going to try to push away here and get off the fence. Look for Baroni to push him away and start punching.
Now Tanner knows the clinch. He's already opened up. Tanner's in big trouble. Landless is right there. Can Tanner intelligently defend himself? They're going to stop the fight, and they're going to check the cut. They're going to check the cut under Evan Tanner's left eye.
Evan Tanner is walking around in a daze.
This is a stoppage to check the cut under Evan Tanner's left eye.
His eyes do not look clear. Besides the cut, his eyes do not look clear. I think that was a big right hand. Let's take a look at it. This is what started it all off. Bam. Boom, boom, another one. See, it's not, these aren't even long punches. These are in short, but Phil Baroni's got big power. They're gonna let this fight go on. Evan Tanner looks rough.
Baroni's got to feel confident.
Very confident. I don't know what Evan Tanner can do differently. This is how these two match up.
Are you ready? Let's
Evan
rock and roll.
Tanner's just
Let's
not
go.
that good standing, and Phil Baroni's very good standing.
Well, Baroni's going to try to finish it right now.
He looks very relaxed, too.
Right here, right now. Tanner knows it.
Another right hand.
This is a dangerous situation for Evan Tanner. Can he get the clinch?
But as he's going to get the clinch, he leaves himself nice knees inside.
And that's what Tanner's good at, Joe.
That's Tanner's
He's got great knees, and if he can pull the head down and get the knee up and connect, he's going to have the same force on Baroni. Dirty boxing was working there.
Phil's holding the back of his head and punching him with right hands.
Tanner.
Good right kick to Phil's left leg.
You know what? It seems as if Tanner is regaining his composure.
A little bit, but he got rocked again right after he said that. Evan's success is in the clinch. He needs to grab a hold of Phil's head quickly, but the problem is when you reach for that, which like we saw when he fought Rich Franklin, that's when he gets caught with punches.
Is Baroni in danger of being overly aggressive here and making a mistake?
Baroni's an overly aggressive guy, but he believes that over-aggression is his strength.
He will dictate the pace. He's one of those guys that says, I don't worry about my opponent. I'm going to bring my game plan, and they're going to have to defend against that.
They're pummeling inside, looking for position.
And Tanner wants control the way that Lindland controlled Baroni. That's what Tanner's in search of. Tanner looking to his corner. Randy Couture. And the Team Quest team.
If Tanner can keep him away and throw those kicks, he's going to wear him out. He's got good leg kicks in there by Tanner. And Phil's getting a little arm weary. His punches aren't coming with as much snap.
Now Tanner is taking some punishment here in the first. What an impressive showing for him to survive the onslaught of Baroni punches thus far.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. Watch that knee, watch that knee.
Baroni has truly used a lot of energy here in the first 3+ minutes, throwing with frequency.
Yeah, I'm sure he thought that Tanner would be out by now. He had him really rocked, and if it wasn't for that referee stepping in and checking the cut, he might be rocked. Baroni's going to take him to the ground. Or excuse me, Tanner's taking him to the ground.
And Tanner has him up against the octagon fence.
Phil looks a little tired here.
Dan Henderson, Randy Couture telling him to take it now.
And Tanner has excellent submissions.
At least thus far, this fight reminds me a bit of Randy Pedro 1, where Pedro punished Randy over and over again with strikes. Randy survived, and then he eventually got into his game plan.
This is definitely a much better place for Tanner. Little payback here. Tanner's going to want to pass the guard. No, he's hitting Phil with some big right hands.
Wow.
Who would have thought you'd be seeing this after the first couple minutes?
Well, obviously, somewhere in the heart of Evan Tanner, somebody did.
All right, Tanner's looking to pass right now. He's looking to mount. He's got the mount. Bad spot.
30 seconds left.
Big
There's the ground and pound. The elbows of Evan Tanner. Trying to finish off Phil Baroni. Elbows. He sends Larry Landless. Phil Baroni verbally has tapped out. Phil Baroni, in the eyes of Larry Landless, has verbally tapped out.
It looks like a miscommunication there. It looks like Phil thought he was saying, "Are you okay?" And Phil said, "Yeah." But Larry was asking, "Do you want out?" Unbelievable.
Larry claims that he twice asked Phil, and Phil said stop.
I think what Phil thought he was saying was, wow. I think Phil thought he was saying, "Are you okay?" And Phil was saying yes. Let's take a look at some of those knees that Evan Tanner was landing. He got the clinch, and that's Evan's strong point right there. Nice knees to the body by Evan Tanner, just over and over again. Those, I'm sure, contributed to Phil wearing out. Now let's take a look at the end of the fight. He's got him mounted, very bad position, and Evan's got vicious elbows from this position. Over and over and over again. And he's looking to Larry Landless, I think, to tell him he's okay. You see right away, he's fine.
Yeah, there's no way he would react so quickly. One would guess.
I believe that was a miscommunication. Phil was taking those shots, and Larry was coming over and asking him questions, and Phil was telling us right now that he was saying, don't stop it, don't stop it. He thought that the referee was asking him if he's okay. He was saying yes, but what Larry was asking him was, do you want out? Just a terrible miscommunication.
Kept asking me, you want out? No. You want out? No, and he stopped it.
Phil Baroni is verbalizing to us that he kept saying, do you want out? And Phil replied, no.
Look, Phil Baroni's not going to tap out from getting punched. He'll go out before he taps out. I think this is just an unfortunate miscommunication.
Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Larry Landless has called an end to this contest at 4 minutes 42 seconds of the very first round. For the winner, Evan Tanner!
Well, it's been argued that oftentimes fight styles dictate the quality of the fight. Standing true to that rule, this matchup has explosive potential. The original bad boy against the man known only as Cabbage. Now on to one of the most anticipated fights on the card. A match that looks to be a slugfest between two of the best brawlers in the sport. Tank Abbott versus Cabbage Carrera.
Tank all over him. Tank ferocious, landing blows. Fighting a legend like Tank Abbott doesn't make me afraid at all, not one bit. He's old. He looks like he's in pain. I'm just gonna do him a favor.
Who's Cabbage, man? He's reading the book that I wrote.
I think Tank's finished.
I don't even know what to say to that. Cabbage is wrong.
He's tapped out his last 2 fights. He's probably gonna tap out again.
My last 2 fights, I wasn't there. I thought I could fight these guys and block whatever was in my mind out of my mind. It obviously didn't work, and it manifested itself in my performance.
You go in there, you battle, you lose, you lose. You don't make up excuses.
Before, when I'd go train, I would say to myself, I do not want to be here. Now when I'm training, I want to train. I wake up to train. I can't wait to go do it. I'm benching in the 500-pound range. Doing uprights with 315. I can do curls with upwards of 150 pounds.
I bet he's training right now, but it's not going to help him. 4 months, 5 months, 6 months of training isn't going to help him for me. I'm younger, badder, faster, stronger.
Listen, man, I've been brawling my whole life. You want to step in the octagon and brawl with me? We'll see what happens. He doesn't know how to punch. He doesn't know anything. He just stands there and moves.
I'm just tired of his antics already. Tank this, tank that. I'm just going to go in there and just rip him apart, mess him up, plain and simple.
I guarantee it's going to be a war, and I'm not going out on my back. He is.
Coming up next, Tank Abbott versus Cabbage Carrera. 13 years older, Tank Abbott. 6 foot 253, Cabbage comes in just under the heavyweight limit, 265 pounds. Our referee will be Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go. You ready, Cabbage? You ready, Tank? Let's get it on!
Here we go. Tank will take the center of the ring.
Cabbage starts out with a leg kick.
Tank wants to throw. Tank with a combination. Tank going after Cabbage. We know Cabbage can take the punch. Remember the Sylvia fight.
Oh, big
Cabbage with a knee.
Cabbage. Tank looks rocked. I talked to Tim Sylvia, and Tim Sylvia said he's never been rocked in a fight before until he fought Cabbage. He said that guy punches incredibly hard.
It was amazing that night as you and I sat here octagon side watching the shots that Cabbage took.
Oh, he's got a chin of iron. He said his head is, and I quote, filled with cement and stuff.
Well, that's some hard stuff. Watch the knees. That could take Tank out.
You know what? Tank's landing some big shots too, though.
And you brought up a great point. Power is the last thing to go away. Like George Foreman, heavyweights keep their power.
Oh yeah, Tank has lost no power. He can still put you to sleep, without a doubt. And if Cabbage stands in front of him, he can hit him.
Knock out or be knocked out. That's been Tank's philosophy since he first walked into the octagon.
If this becomes a war, the question arises, did Cabbage train hard enough for this fight? Like right when I said that, he landed a nice knee. Good clinch, he's got the Muay Thai clinch, and knee to Tank Abbott.
Tank comes up.
Another knee.
Did he connect on it?
He's rocked.
Tank is
Tank
rocked.
looks a little rocked.
Yeah,
he's
over
cut.
the right eye, he's cut. That had to be one of the knees. He's got blood in his eye, and that's what he's trying to wipe away.
Nice jab by Tank Abbott.
Tank is going to come hard. Tank takes a left, and another left, and Tank going to bulldoze his way into Cabbage. As we expected.
Nice knee by Cabbage on the inside. He's got that Muay Thai clinch to the back of the head.
The one thing Tank can't do is try to catch his breath in this position and lean down into that knee.
Exactly, and he's getting caught with those knees. Another one on the chin. He cannot take too many of these.
One of them is going to end the night.
Cabbage looks calm and relaxed too.
And that's how Tank will try to gain his conditioning. They're going to check that cut on his eye, but that's how oftentimes he will catch his breath by leaning on his opponent. He's leaning right into those kicks.
Absolutely, good point. Cabbage sitting over there just looks calm and relaxed. I mean, looks are deceiving. You look at that guy, you would not think that guy's one of the top heavyweight fighters in the world.
He defines deceiving looks.
Let's take a look at some of these knees. He gets a hold of that. That's a nice one right there. Oh, nice left hook too.
It's over. It's all over. The doctor has stopped the fight due to the cut over the right eye of Tank Abbott.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because Tank is disappointed. Tank wants to go still.
That is a big gash on his forehead there.
The doctor stoppage. And we've always seen, regardless of the outcome, respect, and that's what we've always bragged about, Joe.
We've seen this over and over again in the sport. You know what Tito Ortiz does his grave digger routine, and Tank Abbott did a dance after he knocked out Matua. It happens. People disrespect each other, but to start a brawl like that, especially amongst guys who are not even fighting in the ring in this event, it's done.
And it wasn't Tank who reacted.
No, it's unfortunate and it's done. You know what, Tank is like, look, I got cut, it's time to fight, whatever, I'll be back. That's his attitude. Unfortunately, his teammates didn't share that attitude and they got pissed off.
Look how much the fight fans love Tank Abbott.
They love the fact that Tank loves to fight. He's down to put on a show and brawl. This is very unfortunate.
Tank wants to speak. Let's get the official word from Bruce Buffer. If Tank doesn't take the microphone
Ladies and gentlemen,
he looks like he's got
at 2 minutes, 14 seconds of the very first round, referee John McCarthy has stopped this bout, and the winner is Cabbage Carrera!
You know what? It's unfortunate that the fight got stopped because of a cut. It's more unfortunate that it almost became a brawl. In the 10-year history of the UFC, that's the first bench-clearing brawl we've ever had. I would like to hear what Tank has to say.
Well, there's a standing ovation in the house here at the Mohegan Sun for UFC legend Tank Abbott. Could this
I would
be
like to hear what Tank has to
his
say.
last moment inside the octagon?
You know
this
what?
could be the farewell dance.
I would hate to see him go out like that. I would like to see a rematch. You know what? These guys, they were brawling. He got cut. I would really like to see a rematch. It wasn't a decisive knockout. I think, personally, if the fight had gone on, there wasn't a cut in that same position, Cabbage was very close to knocking Tank out. But you can't give up on Tank. Very unfortunate turn of events. And like I said, I think the most unfortunate part of it was the brawl. You know, emotions run high, but we have to realize that this sport is being very closely watched. We're very close to mainstream acceptance, and the knock on this sport right now is that it's filled with thugs and animals, and that these guys are just brawlers, and that they're not legitimate professional athletes. But they are, we all know they are, and stuff like this doesn't help us. In fact, it hurts the cause. This is just knocking us back to the old image of this sport being a spectacle, to the old image of this sport being filled by, you know, morons who just want to step in and brawl. The people who don't know, the people who don't understand what it's all about are going to get a bad view from stuff like that. I mean, it happens in all sports. We see brawls in basketball, we see brawls in football, we see it in baseball. It's just unfortunate that it has to come when this sport is so close at gaining mainstream acceptance.
And Joe, we will hear from Tank Abbott still tonight. What makes a legend? The question's been asked many times. Is it skill, is it strength, attitude, success, or perhaps it is a nemesis? For Ken Shamrock, that nemesis was Royce Gracie. So it's apropos that on a night in which Royce Gracie enters the Hall of Fame, Ken Shamrock rides right along.
Ken Shamrock began his mixed martial arts career in the Pancrase organization in Japan. Ken won his first 3 fights in Pancrase, all by submission. Ken then competed in the very first UFC and made an immediate impression. He had the look, the physique, and the charisma of a star. He could fight too, as he displayed by submitting Pat Smith in 1 minute 49 seconds in the first round of the 8-man tournament by heel hook. Ken was surprised by Royce Gracie in the next round, losing by choke, but vowed to return and become a UFC champion. Ken returned at UFC 3, where he hoped to get revenge against Gracie. Ken defeated Christopher Leninger and Felix Mitchell, but suffered a leg injury and dropped out of the tournament when he learned that Royce dropped out due to injury. Ken returned to Japan, where he won the tournament to become the first ever King of Pancrase. The fans demanded Shamrock versus Gracie, so the super fight was created to ensure their matchup. The fight went to a grueling 36-minute draw. It would be Gracie's last UFC fight. Shamrock fought UFC 5 tournament champion Dan the Beast Severn for the Bacon Super Fight Championship. Shamrock won by guillotine choke in 2 minutes, 14 seconds. His dream of becoming a UFC champion had come true. He defended the super fight title against UFC 6 tournament champion Oleg Taktarov and Kimo, the man responsible for Gracie being unable to continue in the UFC 3 tournament. Ken Shamrock became a champion in Japan and America, and later went on to become a WWF superstar and landed roles in television and movies. A television program that featured him dubbed him the world's most dangerous man. Ken helped bring mixed martial arts to the masses and has always been one of its finest ambassadors. Ken Shamrock, pioneer, champion, legend.
And Ken Shamrock is still fighting. Living legend.
And tonight, along with Royce Gracie, Joe, Ken Shamrock will be inducted as a charter member of the UFC Hall of Fame. Call it a fluke, call it a freakish finish, call it what you will. What it really calls for, though, is a rematch. So Matt Lindland can have another chance to win. Valenico Vitali can work the premise that the first time was shame on me. Next up in the middleweight division is a rematch of a fight with one of the most unusual endings in UFC history. Hawaiian submission specialist Nico Vitali made his UFC debut at UFC 43 against Olympic silver medal wrestler Matt "The Law" Lindland. From the beginning, Vitali proved to be difficult to take down. Lindland went to throw Vitali, but when the fighters crashed to the mat, Lindland's head hit the mat hard, knocking him out.
The only recollection I have of that fight is what I seen on the video. You know, that should have never happened. I don't remember anything happening. I'm gonna go out there tonight and take that win.
Nico Vitali won his UFC debut, but was it a fluke?
My last fight with Matt Lindland wasn't no fluke. I know if I fight Matt Lindland again, I can beat him. And it doesn't matter. I just want to prove to people and get some respect. That's all.
We'll see if he can do it again as Nico Vitali takes on Matt "The Law" Lindland. Our referee, Larry Lenless. He has already had an eventful night. Vitali against Lindland for a second time here at the Mohegan Sun. Vitali will tell you, and he has often, Joe, that he forced Lindland to blow that throw.
Yeah, he said he forced Lindland to take a high-risk maneuver, and then he countered it. And that's why Lindland knocked himself out. That he adjusted his weight while Lindland was taking him down, and that forced Lindland to land on his head.
Lindland, ever-improving striking skills inside the couture camp.
Good left hand right there by him.
In the southpaw. Vitali has pretty good hands, though. Kickboxing experience himself. Trying to lean in with that left.
He leaves himself wide open when he's doing this. I mean, it's working right there.
That's a slip, and Lindland went to jump in on him. Yep, he'll take the takedown, and a good slam indeed.
Yeah, look, Matt Lindland knows how to take advantage of people's mistakes. He will capitalize if you screw up.
And he did. And the one thing, and we've talked about it before with Lindland, he's had so much championship experience. Nothing unnerves Matt Lindland.
Yeah, absolutely. He says his biggest weapon in the fight is that he knows how to win. He knows how to compete. He knows how to win competitions.
Close guard of Nico Vitali with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, comfortable on his back. Can Lindland rain down some ground and pound?
Nico looks like he's trying to wrap up Matt Lindland's right arm.
The wrestler on the top, the jiu-jitsu artist on his back. Who will gain the next set of momentum? Just underway, 90 seconds into round one. Fight is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Still ahead, welterweight championship. Matt Hughes and Frank Trigg.
Nico's got Matt's right arm wrapped up. If you let it go now, he's effectively keeping Matt from striking. Matt's trying to pass right now.
Matt went for a sprint when Nico slipped. So a freakish slip by Vitali gives Lindland early control.
Matt's got him in a guillotine here. It looks like he's got him in some sort of a neck crank.
Can he extend the body enough to get the leverage that he needs to close off the breathing pattern?
Well, he can if he's in Nico's half guard, and now Nico's using Matt trying to do that to try to sweep him. He's gonna roll up to his knees now. Nico's going back to full guard. Nico trains at Grappling Unlimited Hawaii with Egan Inoue, and you know, he's got excellent jiu-jitsu skills.
I remember very early on when I was learning jiu-jitsu, when Big John McCarthy and many people talked about, and Hoist Gracie was the best at it, how relaxed the jiu-jitsu artist stays when he is in a situation of distress, and that's what we saw with Vitali. Well, the key is not to panic.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, he's going for a sweep here. You know, we've seen that over and over in fights. Guys who are in the same situation, one guy panics, he gets through it, and he winds up with the win, and a lesser man freaks out. A guy panics like, you know, and can't get over the situation, or you see a guy like Evan Tanner who was just rocked.
Yeah.
And he composed himself, he kept it together, and he pulled through.
Don't forget, log on, UFC.tv. All the updated news on the world's greatest, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And thank you to our very loyal viewers in helping us with the Viewers' Choice Awards tonight. UFC.tv.
Falanico's doing a good job of stifling Matt Lindland. He's got a nice guard here. It looks like he's going for a sweep here, trying to grab a hold of a leg, but he might get past here. Matt's throwing some punches.
Lindland not able to put too much damage, as you mentioned, Joe.
Falanico keeps looking for some sort of a submission. He's looking to wrap a hold of an arm, but most importantly, he's stifling Matt Lindland's offense here.
And that is the biggest concern of those who support Matt Lindland, is they've always said submissions may be Superman's kryptonite.
Yeah, he's been submitted before. Wrestlers have a lot of bad mistakes that they, whoa, nice elbow by Matt Lindland right there. Wrestlers have a lot of mistakes that in their sport are good things, are good habits. You know, posting your arms, bridging yourself up, when you leave yourself open in those positions if you fight against a submission guy. So they have to actively remember to not do things that they've been programmed to do their entire competitive career. That's hard to do. Nice kicks.
Vitali, 5 of his last 7 wins by submission. Lindland trying to leave an impression in the judges' minds and on their scorecards here at the end of round number 1.
Matt Lindland had an interesting strategy right there. He would, when he was in front of Vitali, he'd be on one knee so Vitali couldn't kick him with his legs. Then he would stand up real quick and kick his leg and then get in between him himself.
Reaction to Tank in Cabbage. Let's check in with Eddie Bravo.
I'm backstage here with Tank Abbott. Tank, obviously you thought you could still continue the fight with your cut. What was going on through your mind?
Now the way I look at it, man, you know, it's just a cut. You know, you don't leave the octagon unless you're on your back. And I was fine. I just get my second win. I was ready to turn it up another notch and start dropping some more bombs on them, and they stopped it. I'll tell you what, I'm sure Cabbage doesn't like the way it stopped anyways either. But you want to know what? We can do it again. And bottom line is, we can do it again. No one's hurt, no big deal. You just got to do what you got to do. Obviously, I wouldn't want to see it end this way, but life goes on.
Well, there you have it. Tank's up for a rematch, and so am I. I'm sure the fans are as well. Back to you, Mike and Joe.
That's a nasty cut.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And if it was blurring his vision, then he couldn't intelligently defend himself.
Well, you know what? John McCarthy and the doctor made a judgment call, and we got to err on the side of the fighter's safety.
Of the ultimate importance. That's one thing that has not changed.
And again, he's fine to fight in a rematch.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure everyone would love to see it. I know I would.
Second round, Matt Lindland in the longer black trunks. Falanico Vitali sporting the full contact fighter gear. It was a slip that allowed Lindland to take down before he connects with that throw of the left hand.
Falanico's looking a little tired.
Now remember, it was the slip, and Lindland closed in quickly in round number 1. And fatigue could become a factor because Lindland was working diligently to pass the guard of Vitali, so he had to exercise tons of energy and utilize it to just avoid Lindland gaining an aggressive spot.
Yeah, Vitali was constantly reacting to Lindland. He's got a hold of the neck. Well, he's got a hold of his legs, rather. He's going to go for a takedown here. Let's see how good Vitali's takedown defense actually is. Nice elbow inside by Lindland. Very nice. Vitali's thinking about the takedown. Lindland's mixing it up. Nice control by Matt Lindland. Mixing it up between clinching and striking.
Lindland isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe, and then again, Vitali isn't the biggest threat in the middleweight division.
As a striker.
As a striker, correct.
Well, Lindland has improved his striking. I mean, you know, those guys over at Team Quest, they improve everything. I mean, Randy Couture literally looks like a professional kickboxer now when he fights. I mean, these are guys with pure wrestling backgrounds who develop excellent striking skills. Oh, nice leg kick by Vitali. And Lindland takes advantage of it with a bum rush.
And Joe, obviously, Lindland had to improve his striking when he was upon his resume meeting Phil Baroni not once but twice.
Yeah, he hung in there with Baroni on his feet.
Yep.
That's something Baroni didn't expect. But Lindland's very intelligent. I mean, when a guy's looking to trade with him, he gets the guy into a position where the guy thinks that he's going to throw a punch with him, and then he'll take him down.
He is the master of control.
Yeah, he's got excellent control. I mean, that's the specialty of Greco-Roman wrestling. Nice foot stomps by him. You know, Vitaly is not used to the big show. He had one fight in the UFC, and it ended quickly and weirdly. You know, and Matt Lindland's got a lot of experience in here. He's won, he's lost. He's beaten great guys like Pat Miletich. He's beaten Phil Baroni, and he's lost to Murilo Bustamante. He's got a lot of octagon experience.
And I still contend he looked his best at UFC 42 in Atlantic City when he defeated Baroni by the unanimous decision, prior to a quick return with the freakish knockout that he suffered at the hands of this man, Vitaly. So he had peaked himself to a different level. They're going to restart it for inactivity. Larry Landless pulls him apart, sets him back up. 135 remains in round 2. UFC 46, January 31st, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, Super Saturday night. Super Bowl weekend, celebrate it with us. Supernatural Randy Couture will defend his UFC light heavyweight crown against Vitor the Phenom Belfort. Tickets are on sale now.
Matt looks the most composed and relaxed here. Falanico looks like every time he throws a kick or a punch, he's got to relax afterwards. It could be the pressure of the event that's making him gas. It doesn't look like he's out of shape at all. Or it could just be that Matt Lindland is working him so hard that he's running out of steam.
Super Bowl weekend, Super Saturday, UFC 46, live on pay-per-view.
That's going to be a wild event right
That is
there.
the place you want to be.
How about the rematch between Vitor Belfort and Randy Couture? Man, that's going to be crazy.
Many consider it still, to this day, the greatest upset in UFC history when Couture beat Belfort years ago. Little did we know that a legend was born that night, and his name was Randy Couture.
You can see Lindland holding him and then pushing off, just get enough room to throw some strikes. Matt's in complete control of these clinches. He's doing all the damage. Nice elbows in tight. And Falanico's just kind of like trying to slap back to react to it, but he's getting worked. He's getting worked and he's getting worn out. And Matt looks fine.
Second round, and again, good control for Matt Lindland. We have heard from Tank Abbott. Now how about a reaction from Cabbage? Eddie Bravo has Cabbage.
I'm backstage here with Cabbage. Cabbage, your little dance at the end there caused a fiasco.
That's my signature. After I win, I always do the cabbage patch.
Tank claimed that he could have kept fighting with that cut. Did you feel that he was about to get knocked out?
I kept on dropping him. Everybody seen me drop him like 3 times, and the knees were just taking it to him. If he wants to dance again, we can dance again. But right now, I got Chemo in my sights because Chemo's talking a lot of smack. So I got to shut him up and the other legend, too.
Well, there you go. A rematch in the future with Tank. Back to you, Mike and Joe.
Potential rematch, yeah.
How about him and Chemo? That's an interesting fight right there, too.
Couple of big lines.
Matt Lindland's pumped. He's pacing in his corner like a cheetah.
Lindland, 33 years old, Olympic silver medalist. And Falanico Vitaly has that look of frustration. He hasn't been able, Joe, at all to get into his game plan.
Well, you got to wonder if maybe he underestimated Matt Lindland after winning that first fight so easily and freakishly.
Down goes Matt. But I got to ask you, how do you underestimate Matt Lindland? There's more than a minute and a half worth of tape on Matt Lindland.
You know what? Guys have egos. And look at this. Look at this. Matt Lindland's going for a triangle. Matt Lindland is going for, he's going to get his guard passed. I would have been very impressed if Matt Lindland landed that triangle there. I mean, I know those guys work on submissions, but, you know, they're just so comfortable wrestling that they don't usually go for them. They would rather just keep a good position and pound the guy.
You know, that would have been as crazy as how the last one ended. Seeing a man who is most vulnerable to submissions win by submission against a man with great jiu-jitsu tutelage.
Falanico's trying to pass here.
Now, we know one thing. Wrestlers don't like to be on their backs. Matt Lindland is no exception. Half guard.
He certainly doesn't like this position right here. And Falanico's going to try to pass here.
Third and final round.
This is a much better position for Falanico. And it came from a mistake. Matt Lindland threw a kick, had a little slip. Now here they are. And again, talking about the overestimating, you got to realize fighters have egos.
Yeah,
And
no,
your
that's
ego
true.
will have you convinced that you are the man. You know, and if you beat a guy, you're like, yeah, I'm going to beat him again. You got to prepare for war. And hopefully you won't have a war. Hopefully you will win easy. But if you don't win easy and you know you didn't prepare for war, that's a bad feeling. And I'm not saying that Nico did do that he did underestimate him, but it's certainly not, this fight's certainly not going the way he wants it to.
Now remember, it was a slip in round 1, a slip by Vitali that allowed Lindland to gain control.
Good scramble. Lindland's doing a good job of not letting Vitali tee off on him. He's holding on to him, and when Vitali gets to rise up, he's kicking him off and moving and bucking and making sure that Nico doesn't have a good chance to land a clean shot on him. I mean, that Team Quest, I mean, what an excellent camp they have. Those guys are just so well versed in all aspects of mixed martial arts fighting. They're all constantly improving. You know, Dan Henderson just knocked out Bustamante in Pride in devastating fashion. You got Randy Couture, 40 years old, you know, beating the hell out of guys 10 and 20 years as junior rather. And you got Matt Lindland constantly improving. It's a fantastic camp.
And while Lindland is on his back here in true competition, how many hundreds of times have his training partners started them with Lindland on his back to try to see what his defense would be?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they train like that all the time. I mean, Randy did a lot of that when he fought Tito. He said that was the most uncomfortable thing for him, just working, the most unusual thing, working from his back. And I'm sure Lindland works from his back constantly too. Like I said, they work on all aspects of fighting. All good camps do.
Landless in close range.
Oh,
that kick connects. Nico shook the last one off. He's trying to move
slide
in.
through the guard.
Yep.
He's got one leg through.
Matt did a nice job, half guard, trying to close it. Nico's really got to make up some points that he lost in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and Matt's got double underhooks here. This is a good spot for him. Double underhooks and half guard. I was actually talking about this with him at lunch. He said he loves half guard. He likes to sweep guys from this position. And it looks like he's doing that very thing right now. He's getting his back. He's a Greco-Roman wrestler. You let that guy get double underhooks and clinch his hands together, he's gonna control you. I mean, he's so superior in those positions. And now Nico's gonna feel his wrath. Dropping some elbows down.
Now, not that Nico was able to do too much damage a moment ago, but we know one thing, it's back to Matt Lindland's world.
Matt would like to get either inside control. Oh, he's controlling that arm. That's nice. That's a nice position right there.
Good elbow.
He's got one arm trapped in between his legs. If he can keep that there, he can drop some good elbows and really control him.
Well, Lindland will keep busy, even in the half guard.
He's going to slip it through. He's got the mount.
He's got the mount now. He's got the full mount.
And he's going to hold on to that mount, too. His control in the mount is excellent. We saw him just dominate Pat.
And it is all over. It is all over. Fella Nico Vitali has tapped.
Good job by Matt Lindland. Way to come back from a freakish loss and prove your dominance.
Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fighter Nico Vitali tapped out at 4 minutes, 23 seconds of the 3rd round. Making the winner, Matt "The Law" Lindland.
Tonight, we induct the first 2 members of the UFC Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are going to induct our first 2 UFC Hall of Fame members. Please welcome these 2 UFC warriors as they come to the octagon. Presenting the awards will be the president of Zuffa, Dana White. Entering the octagon at this time, the legendary Royce Gracie.
Tonight is a very special night for the UFC. Tonight we'll be honoring two of the sport's greatest legends by inducting them into the UFC Hall of Fame. He thrilled and stunned the world. How could a 185-pound man defeat men much stronger and bigger? We will learn it was a family secret. First unveiled at UFC 1. The Gracie family style of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what catapulted Royce Gracie into legendary status. We honor and welcome an inaugural inductee to the UFC Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, Royce Gracie.
I'd like to thank my brother Horton for creating the show. If it wasn't for him, none of us would be here tonight. Of course, the fans for their support. And Dana White and Zuffa, but to have the courage to continue my family create long time back in Brazil, my father, my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Royce. Congratulations.
We first met the world's most dangerous man in Denver, Colorado. McNeedles Arena in November of 1993. A multiple UFC champion and still a present-day champion in the minds and hearts of all. We honor and welcome our other inaugural member of the UFC Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Shamrock.
Well, first I want to start off by thanking some of the people to make it possible for me and Royce Gracie to be standing here in the ring today. Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta, the president, Dana White, the people in the office of the UFC, and the people that set up the rings and camera here at the UFC have worked long and hard to keep this here for you fans, for us to be able to fight. And last but not least, back in '93 when I first entered the octagon, it was booming. Back in UFC 4, we started to get shut down. Went underground because the politics wouldn't let us have it, because it wasn't legal. But because of you fans, it went underground, and through the internet and websites, you kept us alive. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart, that I'm standing in this ring, and Royce Gracie's standing in this ring, and UFC is still here being able to put on shows, is because of your persistence, the loyal fans in UFC, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. God bless, and we'll see you back in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big hand of applause for our first two inductees into the UFC Hall of Fame. These two legendary warriors of the octagon, Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock.
I am the 5-time world champion. I've been in that octagon. That's home for me.
This is the first time in his career, and definitely the first time within the UFC, that Matt's ever going to face somebody as well-rounded and as tough and aggressive as I am.
Before the fight, they're going to wonder who's Frank Trigg.
Did I think I'm going to beat the shit out of him? Yes, I did.
He's never fought anybody tough. never beat anybody tough.
Do I think he's better than me? No, I don't. Am I better than him? Yes, I am.
He's really somewhat of a nobody.
No, I'm taking you down, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And I'm gonna get up, and I'm gonna take your belt, and I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna have a drink.
When I'm up here in Iowa, I'm training. I need to be sharp with my stand-up, slick with my submissions.
As far as what he's doing to train, I don't care.
Go, 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 go. 3, 2, 1, done.
I wake up every morning, I know no matter what happens, I have to out-train that guy that I'm gonna face. Matt may be able to bench more, squat more, but when it comes to actual functional strength and being able to move somebody, I'm a stronger guy. That's just the way it works.
He's his biggest fan. And he's the one that thinks he's as good as he is, not everybody else.
I'm definitely the more decorated wrestler. I wrestled at the University of Oklahoma, Big 12 champs.
He was never a Division I All-American. I don't even know if he started or if he made the squad. You know, he was a junior college All-American, but he was never a Division I All-American. I was a 2-time Division I All-American.
What we have right now is just a thin pickings at the welterweight division. What I'm bringing in is to step in, take the belt, and bring a little personality to it.
If the division needs somebody that nobody likes and nobody wants to win, well, he'd definitely be the guy for the spot.
The prediction is the same prediction I give before every single one of my fights. The fight's going to end early, and it's going to end violently.
It'll end violently, but I don't think it's going to be the guy that he thinks is going to win.
Now, if you needed more setup, we'll give it to you now. Mohegan Sun Arena, Uncasville, Connecticut. Mike Goldberg, Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, our fine crew here at the Ultimate Fighting Championship. We are set for the feature matchup for the welterweight belt. Matt Hughes out of the Militich camp. Frank Trigg with Rico Cifarelli and the boys in his corner. A native of Rochester, New York. Last November, he won the World Fighting Alliance belt, beating Dennis Hallman with questionable groin strikes. Tonight is his wedding anniversary. It's been exactly 1 year since his last fight. Frank Trigg believes tonight will be the greatest night of his mixed martial arts career.
This fight has been a long time coming for the fans of mixed martial arts. It's been debated over and over on the internet who would be the victor if these two got in the ring together. For a long time, it didn't look like it was going to happen. Trigg was a WFA welterweight champion. Hughes was UFC. The WFA is no longer. It doesn't exist. Trigg is, in many people's opinion, the toughest guy Hughes has ever faced. And that's saying a lot. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's faced Carlos Newton, the guy who's faced Sean Sherk, Pele, all these tough fighters. A lot of people think that Frank Trigg has the tools to shut Matt Hughes down. And I'm very excited that we're going to find out tonight.
Veteran of pride in Judo, Japan's Vale Tudo in the WFA, the former welterweight champion of that organization, steps into the big show now. This is his Ultimate Fighting Championship debut. He will fight our champion. When he speaks loudly. He generally speaks within the octagon walls. Hillsboro, Illinois native, Matt Hughes, the welterweight champion.
Just an unassuming farm boy who beats the crap out of anybody he gets in the cage with. What can you say about Matt Hughes? Dominant, superior wrestler, working with Pat Militich, the Militich Fighting Systems crews, developed strikes. He's got submissions. He's got a ton of experience and success in the octagon, and so far, no one's been able to stop him.
You see the t-shirts being sported by the Militich camp, Controlled Force. Pat Militich involved in some police training nationwide in Chicago and Las Vegas, working with the military. He wants to bring Matt Hughes in to train with him. Controlled Force police training, taking this great art of mixed martial arts to the best level, and that is law enforcement. Classy camp out of Iowa. Matt Hughes, a wonderful champion. He's had a 2-year term. Frank Trigg thinks his term time has been terminated. We will soon find
such a contrast in personalities.
Tail of the tape brought to you by Nitro, the official sports supplement of the UFC. Found at nitro.tv. Not a whole heck of a lot gives. Trigg comes straight ahead. What Hughes wants to do is get him off balance. What Hughes wants to do is turn what has turned into a personal battle into a personally painful night for Frank Trigg to get us set for the main event of the evening, the welterweight championship. The veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC championship bout is sanctioned by the Mohegan Tribal Department of Athletic Regulations with Jerry Boyle, manager, Brad Beecher, assistant manager, and Mike Masuli, chief inspector. Our doctor at Octagon side is Dr. Michael Shorts, and the 3 judges for this UFC championship bout are Doug Crosby, Jeff Mullen, and Cecil Peoples. Tonight's UFC 45 Revolution is sponsored by Nitro, the official nutritional supplement of the UFC. And now, live from the sold-out arena here at the Mohegan Sun, it's time for the main event of the evening. This fight is 5 5-minute rounds for the UFC Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, the challenger standing to my left. He is a raw combat fighting expert who holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 9 wins with only 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Fighting out of El Segundo, California, please welcome the challenger, Frank Trigg. And now, introducing the champion standing to my right. He is a wrestler and an expert in the Militich fighting systems. He holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 29 wins with 3 losses. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Hillsborough, Illinois. He is the most dominant 170-pound mixed martial arts fighter in the world today. And now, he enters the Octagon tonight to defend his UFC championship title for the 5th consecutive time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 4-time defending UFC welterweight champion of the world, Matt Hughes. And when the action begins, our referee in charge is Big John McCarthy.
Interesting that Trigg was looking towards his corner. No eye contact until now as McCarthy is set to get Trigg and Hughes underway.
All right, here we go. UFC welterweight championship. Frank, you ready? You ready? Let's get it on. Come on.
Famous words of John McCarthy. Let's get it on. Trigg immediately goes to the takedown, and he gets him down.
Now Trigg has good, if not great, wrestling skills. Hughes in the black trunks, Trigg in the red trunks. Will this be the first to gain access to ground and pound?
Uh-oh. Matt's turned it around.
Now, Pat Militich told me moments before the action began tonight that he feels Matt is ready. He's never trained so hard, but on the same hand, he feels that he's never faced such a potentially dangerous test.
Frank Trigg is extremely confident. It's not just talk. That guy he really believes that he's a superior athlete. Oh, look at this.
Not often do we hear the verbiage come out of the mouth of Matt Hughes. Well, we heard some confrontation verbally between these two that has made this match even more interesting than just a match based on their great skills.
This is a very interesting little struggle to see who's going to get the dominant position here.
And as you noticed in the piece preceding our fight, Trigg said Matt Hughes might be stronger in essence, but the practical strength, he thinks, and the leverage strength belongs to him, and nobody has ever outpowered Matt Hughes in the octagon.
No, Matt Hughes is a brutally strong genetic freak, but wrestling and jiu-jitsu and submission, a lot of it is not just about strength. It's about how you apply leverage and how you get it into the proper position. You know, whether or not Trigg is better at that remains to be seen. Right now, it's just a struggle.
I mean, Matt has been very active. He's fought the best.
Right here, Matt's got a hold of his legs.
And this could be big.
He's going to bring it to the center and watch him just throw all his body weight up in the air to slam him.
There it is. The trademark move of Matt Hughes with the big slam on Frank Trigg.
While he's doing this, Trigg is securing his Kimura. Trigg has got a Kimura from the bottom. If he can get his legs into a position where he's got either a guard or half guard and pull Matt Hughes' arm out, Matt Hughes could be in trouble here. Matt's defending well, though. He's doing exactly the right thing. He's going to try to stick his elbow through Frank Trigg's armpit and pop out. And it looks like he's done that. There he goes.
Matt Hughes with the slam, earning points here in round number 1. 7-1 mixed martial arts record, 29-3 outside of just UFC competition, his overall MMA mark.
Trigg's got a hold of the leg, he pulls it towards him, and he's got the sweep. Matt's on his back again.
So Trigg doing a nice job displaying some control here in round 1.
Trigg's doing an excellent job, a nice punch from the top.
And another left. Hughes extended.
Trigg is a southpaw. His power punch is his left hand.
Matt trying to move himself away from the fence, and he spins out of danger. Or does he spin into danger?
Well, right now, he's out of danger. He's in a better position than he was, and he looks like he's going to take Trigg down. There he goes. This is a crazy scramble. We don't usually see this with Matt Hughes. I mean, this is a very even battle here.
And that's what many anticipated as we begin our 5-minute rounds.
Again, okay, he let it go. Trigg was going, oh, Matt Hughes has got his back. He's got one hook in. If he can secure an over-under grip and get that second hook in, Trigg can be in big trouble here. Oh,
look at this. Look at this.
Both hooks in, and he's got his back. This is a bad position.
And Trigg is struggling.
Falls to his back here.
Can Matt Hughes finish him?
This is bad.
Look at the choke. It's all over. And it's all over. Matt Hughes has choked out Frank Trigg. Matt Hughes defends the welterweight championship.
From standing. That's the first time I've ever seen a guy tap out standing, getting rear naked choke. Matt Hughes shows the full gauntlet of techniques. He can strike, he can wrestle, and he's got submissions.
Undeniably the most powerful 170-pound fighter in the history of the UFC. Matt Hughes defends for a 5th time.
That's undeniable, but he got that from technique. Let's take a look at that choke. Look at that. I mean, you just don't see that. You don't see a guy standing up, getting rear naked choked, and then tapping. I mean, Trigg tries as hard as he can to get his hands in there to stop it, but it was too late. Let's take another look at the choke. It's deep.
Oh, it is as deep
as
deep can be.
And if he goes down, it's even worse.
And he tapped just prior to the
going
landing.
unconscious.
That's too good not to see it
Yeah,
once
let's
or
take a
twice.
look at that again. That's the worst position you could ever be in. A guy on your back choking you. You can't touch him, you can't reach back to stop it. The only thing you try to do is get your hand on his hands and try to pull it off your neck. And you're not as strong in that position as he is. He's arching his whole back. He's got his arm behind him. He's got his legs locked around your body. Knee pulled forward. Phenomenal stoppage. Beautiful submission.
Matt Hughes victorious, 8-1 now in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. His 5th title defense, a disappointed Frank Trigg.
You know, Matt Hughes is only getting better. I mean, he shows that if a guy is a great wrestler, he can submit him. He shows that if a guy is a great striker, he takes him down and pounds him. He shows that, I mean, he's just constantly improving and a genetic freak and with a great camera.
Talking to his football team, let's hear from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Trigg has tapped out due to a rear naked choke at 3 minutes 54 seconds of the very first round. For the winner, And still, the UFC welterweight champion of the world, Matt Hughes.
So Matt Hughes has done it again. And the show of class by Hughes to Trigg. Let's get up to Eddie Bravo.
I'm here with the UFC's welterweight champion, undisputed, that is. That was one of the most unbelievable finishes in MMA history. I mean, you're not known for your submissions, but a standing rear naked choke?
He made one mistake, and I capitalized on it. That's how that goes right there. Submissions, I work with Jeremy Horn, legendary Pat Miletich, the whole crew here behind me at Miletich Fighting System. Submissions are every day. That's my job. That's what I do.
He got the takedown fairly quickly in the first round. Were you surprised at his wrestling?
Not surprised at a wrestling. Look at his credentials. I was surprised he shot like that. I thought he was going to want to stand and trade a little bit. So he caught me off guard. But Frank Trigg, he's a heck of a wrestler.
All right, take me through the replay right here. This is the standing rear naked choke.
The whole time I'm trying to get my hips swiveled around and get my other leg in. He did real good getting my arm from the grasp there. And I'll admit it, I kind of felt him tap here a little bit, but I didn't let go till the referee stopped it. But Frank Trigg, you know, he was ranked number 5 in the world, and he's a tough kid.
There's a rumor going around that BJ Penn wants to move up and fight you and challenge you for the belt. What do you think about that?
Well, that was indeed a rumor. I put all that to the side when I was training for this fight. I never thought about UFC 46 at all. Had to get by Frank Trigg first. BJ Penn wants to step up to the 170-pound division. I welcome the idea.
Anybody else in the welterweight division you're looking at?
No, I don't look for fights. The UFC brings me whoever they can.
All right, Matt, once again, thank you for a phenomenal fight. How about a nice round of applause, everybody? Back to you, Mike and Joe.
Now, congratulations indeed to still the welterweight champion of the world, Matt Hughes. And he, as we've said before, gets better and better.
Just constantly improving. I mean, the guy's a genetic freak. He's got incredible strength, trains at the best camp in the world, and he's getting better all the time. I fear for everyone in the 170-pound division that has to face Matt Hughes.
And Eddie Bravo talks about the possibility of BJ Penn moving up.
That's a very interesting fight, but you know what? I wouldn't favor anybody over Matt Hughes at this point.
And the question would be, how would BJ Penn match the strength of Matt Hughes?
He's not going to.
Right.
That's just it. I mean, if a guy who's used to fighting at 155 pounds is going to step up to 170. He's going to be in a world of trouble anyway. And to fight the freakiest, strongest guy at 170 pounds, I mean, that guy's just he's phenomenal. I'm in awe.
You know, it was fun to see Frank Trigg have a little fun as we got set for this matchup. But in the end, Matt Hughes did exactly what he always does, and that's dominated.
Yeah, you know what? The guy who's going to beat Matt Hughes is not going to be a wrestler. The guy who's going to beat Matt Hughes is going to be another submission guy. This guy is going to be a guy who's a better striker, someone who does something better than Matt Hughes does, and it's not going to be a wrestler.
Congratulations to Matt Hughes as he talks to UFC President Dana White on a night when legends were announced, when a night when legends were recognized. He adds to his legendary championship run. Joe, time now for our submission of the night, brought to you by our good friends at TapOutInYourFace.com. And I don't think there was a difficult choice to make in this one.
No, not at all. The submission of the night goes to the welterweight champion, Matt Hughes, with a beautiful rear naked choke. You see him taking the back, gets the hooks in, a standing rear naked choke, a first. I've never seen this in the UFC before. I've never seen a guy tapping out and standing up. Look at Frank Trigg reach down and slap Matt Hughes' legs, signaling the submission.
Well, Joe, in finality, as the theme has seemed to be, the boys from Oregon and the boys from Iowa go home and celebrate a bit, don't they?
You know what? The top teams continue to win and continue to provide some incredible fights, and I'm just happy to be here.
For all your info on the reviews of tonight, all the previews of what lies ahead here in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, as always, log on to UFC.tv. A celebration of 10 years of competition. The world's greatest mixed martial artists. The skills are so much. Robbie Lawler looked great tonight. Man, did he throw with Chris Lights Out Lytle. They celebrated each throw this evening. Our executive producer, Steve Tornabani, our producer, Bruce Connell, our director, Anthony Giordano, our great crew doing a wonderful job as always here from Mohegan's Sun. Phil Baroni and Evan Tanner. I venture to guess they will meet once again. Tanner withstood the punishment, and in the end, Baroni said, no way did I want it to stop. Never did I say it was over. Tanner gets the win. They will fight again. Would this be the last time we see Tank inside the octagon? Cabbage delivered some knees. He opened a cut over the eye of Tank. Tank, with that familiar smirk on his face, says, you never hurt me. Don't wave goodbye to my career yet. Matt the Law Lindland trying to prove to fella Nico Vitale that it was a fluke the first time. Ground and pound extraordinaire forces the tap, and Lindland wins again. And then in our main event, Frank Trigg taking on Matt Hughes. The trademark slam and a rear naked choke submission a la Hoist Gracie to finish a historical evening for Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo. Mike Goldberg, Matt Hughes remains the welterweight champion.